Attorney General Merrick Garland appointed a former Justice Department official, Jack Smith, to the role of special counsel. His job will be to investigate the criminal probe into the retention of presidential records held at former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. Smith will also oversee the Department of Justice's investigation into the January 6 riot at the U.S. Capitol. As many Americans grow increasingly concerned about a weaponized system of justice from the Biden administration, what will this mean for the investigation of a former president who has already announced he's running for president again in 2024? Joining me now to help explain the many maneuverings of this ongoing case is John Daukas, former acting assistant attorney general for civil rights at the U.S. Department of Justice. John, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Hello, Joseph. It's nice to be with you again.
It's good to see you. John, walk us through the appointment of the independent counsel and what this means.
So, Joseph, it's important to understand that the so-called independent counsel is not really independent. He still reports to the Attorney General, to Merrick Garland, who reports to the President, President Biden. This is not like the special counsels and the independent counsels that Congress created, for example, Ken Starr and Whitewater, who are independent of the president and the Justice Department. So this independent counsel is not truly independent. He still is under the direction of the president through the Attorney General.
Now, Merrick Garland, when announcing this appointment, gave a different impression. Here's what he had to say. Let's play clip 4.
Based on recent developments, including the former president's announcement that he is a candidate for president in the next election, and the sitting president's stated intention to be a candidate as well, I have concluded that it is in the public interest to appoint a special counsel. Such an appointment underscores the department's commitment to both independence and accountability in particularly sensitive matters.
Now, John, if you say that this independent counsel still reports to Merrick Garland, how is it an independent counsel?
Well, in a sense, it's not. I mean, Joseph, this is uncharted territory. We have the President of the United States using the Department of Justice to pursue and prosecute a former president of the United States and his political rival. That is, President Biden is pursuing his political rival for political gain, apparently. This, to my mind, is really just putting lipstick on a pig, if you will. There's a veneer of independence here by calling this person independent counsel. And Jack Smith, the person who's been appointed, appears to be very qualified, but he still reports to Merrick Garland, to the Attorney General. The Attorney General can still fire him. The Attorney General can tell him what to do and what not to do. So it's not truly independent.
Is there a way that this investigation could be done in a way that you would consider to be truly independent?
Not through the Biden Justice Department. What you really, you could certainly have a former judge or a panel of judges appointed to review this. But again, Joseph, this is just so un-American, so not what we do in this country. What we normally do where we have an issue with the president is we have Congress determine whether to impeach him through the House, and then there's a trial in the Senate. And by the way, that already happened with respect to January 6th and allegations that President Trump engaged in election improprieties. So there's while this is not, while there's an issue about whether there's legally an issue of double jeopardy here, there certainly is a sense that we've been there, done that. We already had Congress investigate this, try the president for these alleged crimes and improprieties, and acquit the president. So we're just going back to the same crimes over again. And the concept of double jeopardy, which is so dear to us in Anglo-American jurisprudence, is that someone shouldn't be put at jeopardy twice, shouldn't be prosecuted for the same crime twice. That's what's happening with respect to the January 6th and election aspect of this investigation.
Because, of course, there was an impeachment trial on that question, which is different than a criminal probe, which is what's happening now. And so that's the reason that this isn't actually double jeopardy and unconstitutional. Is that correct?
Well, it's a little clear here because, again, this is all unprecedented. No one's ever done this before. Article 1, Section 3 of the Constitution says that if the Senate convicts a president, the president is not immune from subsequent criminal prosecutions for that conduct. But that speaks about a conviction. Here, the president was acquitted. The Fifth Amendment of the Constitution deals with double jeopardy. And there's an issue about whether an impeachment is the same sort of criminal prosecution or criminal penalty, which would involve double jeopardy. But again, setting those legal niceties to the side, and they're important, the concept still applies here, which again, we've been there, done that. Why are we doing this again through what frankly is not an independent process? We're
going to continue to ask those questions. John, in about 30 seconds, what do you expect to result from the special counsel's investigation?
Well, I'm sorry to say this, but I think from the Biden administration standpoint, they want to keep the focus on President Trump because they think that helps them politically. They think that helped to soften their losses in the last election we just had, where they lost the House but held the Senate. So I think they just want to keep him in focus. And I really have a feeling that there aren't adults in the room who should be thinking historically and big picture, why are we doing this? Concerning an ex-president, do we look like a banana republic with this kind of tit-for-tat attacks on our opponents?
It's a very fair question. John Daukas, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you very much, Joseph.